K Return of King's ending is probably my favorite of the year, not only for the badass song, but for the visuals as well. What's funny, however, is that despite it being my favorite, I missed so many significant things that the visuals of the ED display. In fact, the ED possibly has the best foreshadowing in the entire series, and now I understand why it's not an opening, but an ending. It basically tells the story of the entire show, revealing almost everything, including plot twists. If you don't know what I'm talking about, stay tuned for this analysis, but be in mind that these could be potential spoilers. If you don't want to be spoiled on the series despite it not being over, you might not want to watch the video. You have been warned. However, if you're like me and the theory crafting and analysis is more important than the spoilers themselves, then let's get started. ED begins with a rapid fire montage of the letter K in the middle of a strip of film and colors around it. At first glance, this may not seem to be anything but a placeholder. Maybe this was supposed to be an opening or something. However, look on the left side of this strip of film. The name there is Reishi Munakata, leader of the Blue Clan in Sector 4, and what makes this fairly interesting is that his name correlates with the dominant color on screen at the time, blue. His name on the side constantly changes, switching from Reishi to his assistant Seri, and then to something very odd once it reaches Fushimi. Fushimi's name is on the left side of the screen. Red is the dominant color of the frame. This is odd because Fushimi is a part of the Blue Clan during the show, and was only a former member of Homura. By looking closer around the frame, however, you can see that there is blue on the left of the K in the middle, green on the right, and red at the bottom, which, spoilers if you haven't seen episode 8, signifies his past and current allegiances to all three clans, green, red, and blue. You could argue that this is just a coincidence, as green is seen on the right side of most of the other parts of the scene as well, but I would say it's most significant with Fushimi's part of the montage because this is the beginning of Green's march into the scene. This correlates with further foreshadowing that I'll talk about in a little bit. Until the end of the scene, the letter K in the middle constantly fills up with the color green, and I think that this is a signal of how the Green Clan's power and influence is rising throughout not only the city, but the clans as well. There's only a few strange things left to cover about this scene, one of them being the constant flashing of gold and silver that appears. The gold clearly represents the Gold King, and maybe it's just me, but it appears that every time his color flashes by, it's as if the green flame in the K pushes back a little. This correlates to the Green Clan not wanting to make a move until he was gone, because the Gold King would keep ruining their plans. Silver, or more so gray color on the other hand, might correlate to something else in the EDs, especially since it is seen on Mikoto Suo's frame, who we all know is dead. I think you understand the pattern of this scene by now. If I missed anything, let me know in the comment section below. Now that we're finally past the first 2 seconds of the ending, we can get to the really interesting parts, the theory crafting and foreshadowing. First shot we see is of a blue sky, with a red tint near the top right corner of the screen showing the city's protection under Sector 4 and their slight allegiance to Homura. What's more important about this scene, however, is that it's one of the only times in the entire ending in which the color blue completely dominates a view relating to the overview of the city. Towards the end of the scene, there's a small little flash at the bottom of the frame, meaning to signify the emergence of the Green Clan, which the ED hints at later. Next, we get a scene of Kushina's red marble, with the letter K changing towards the middle of the frame. The most interesting part about this clip is the letters. They're the exact same ones as the ones from the beginning of the ending, which means that this might have been foreshadowing of the alliance between the Blue and Red Clan. Then that begs the question, why is there only one K in the next scene, and why is it only next to Yashiro? I think what's most important about this scene is the filling of the K with the letter blue. Before the K is filled, you can clearly see the golden background and the Golden King's blimp. There is also a distortion effect, which is single-handedly the most important effect in the entire ending, as it contributes to the most foreshadowing. The distortion effect is used before a new color comes into the scene to dominate the frame. In other words, it represents a change of allegiance. This scene with Yashiro closing his eyes as the frame is being dominated by red and blue is the first demonstration that the twitching effect here is used for showing the changing of alliances. It was hard for Yashiro to get rid of his allegiance to the Gold King in the show, so the scene makes sure that the switch from gold to red and blue isn't immediate. This also contributes to a theory about the ED that I will once again share at the end of this analysis. How many times I've said that now? I don't know. This video is going to be very blue ballsy. The next scene is of that of a watch, and I could not, no matter how hard I tried, find a meaning behind this scene. All I noticed was that the gray distortions correlate with another part of the ending. For the sake of the organization of this video, I'll talk about that scene when we get to it. The ending then transitions to a scene of Mikoto, who only reappears one time in the rest of the ED, and is only in this time depicted as a godlike figure of sorts due to the lighting. This is where I'm going to stop for part 1 of this video. I think that this is an adequate amount of setup for the rest of the analysis. I would like to put one big video at the end, however, this analysis might end up being around 20 minutes long when completed. That alongside that I'm only on break for a week limits the amount of time I can put into a gigantic video, so I'll try to deliver a part of this analysis every day or two. Stay tuned, as next time we will talk about the ending's foreshadowing of events in the show. It makes complete sense why this is not an opening now.